Which of the frequencies would you choose for pain?
216 hertz, the A harmonic. So these sort of combinations tend to really be good for pain and just in general for putting people into a really relaxed state where they can just let go of stress and let their body do what it needs to do to begin to regenerate.
Aside from pain and relaxation, what other key attributes would you say would be applicable?
Primarily, the use for them are for mindfulness. They can be quite visionary sometimes. I perform sound baths, and I usually have a few people helping me so I can use more than two at once, and the sound fields they create together are just immensely powerful, and like their primary function in my life, at least, in my own personal use, would be for like aiding in mindfulness practices, just because it's like an instant calming switch. I hand this to anyone. If it's their first time experiencing it, they just light up entirely and just turn into kids, and then just immediately sink into just smile on their face and just relax, deep breathing. It's quite miraculous. When I do any sort of performances or work, I like to combine both. So I'll just work in stages. I usually open up with the tuning forks and create a circle of tuning forks. So everyone participating will get to hold on to one for a little bit, and I stand in the center and just hit them with a mallet, and it sounds phenomenal. And then later we sort of transition into gongs and other instruments, and they all go really well together. People love the tuning forks and love gongs. I mean, if I'm at a sound bath, I go straight to gongs because I play with my tuning forks all the time. But it's really like I haven't really talked to people about favoritism. They just seem to love everything that's happening, but gongs are spectacular. I've had these ones for a little while, and I have some larger ones in another room, and they just, like, for me, it's if I want to like just sit and just bang on them for a bit, it's unworldly. It's something spectacular, I'd say. Let's say against anything that is wood or a wall, something that will resonate, the whole entire structure will act as an amplifier, so it gets exceptionally loud. Like, I see you have wood floors. I will highly recommend when you get them to put it on the floor, and you'll find a sweet spot, and your whole entire house will just start to hum. So like I go to anytime, like I go to Burning Man quite a bit, and anytime I see art structures, just huge wooden art structures, like one time I saw there was a wooden pyramid that I was able to climb to the top of, and I was just sitting on top of it, holding the tuning fork to the center, and it was vibrating so intensely you could hear it from 30 or 40 feet away. So people were just flocking to it because there's just a pyramid just pulsing. So yeah, that's my favorite thing to do when I go into someone's house with them. It's just like, all right, if we're doing a session, let's find the room that has the most resonant wall so I can like work on that too, because it just gets quite loud. These ones are at perfect 432, and it's just dipping it like right in there and pulling it up. I'm sure the fish weren't happy. But yeah, it's always fun to play with water and fire as well. Like it is wonderful, and again, it all comes back to everything being frequency. On the topic of Tesla technology, have you ever used a Therify? Have you seen them before? Yeah. That was my first experience with any sort of Tesla technology for wellness like that, and it was immediately when I used it, it put me into a very lucid sort of dream state. Like I laid down on a table with both the bulbs pointing at me, and just instantaneously, of course, my cell phone was in the room, and my cell phone stopped working the moment I got out of there because the waves coming off of it. But yeah, it's on my list of things to acquire is one of those devices and more Tesla technology because it's all frequency. Like
and the Therify is not that dissimilar in some ways to this original version because you've got noble gases in a vacuum. And you're pumping essentially linear or scalar wave energy into it. Super high voltage, very, very low ampage.
Yeah, it's plugged into a Tesla coil. There's like a mini Tesla coil box.
That's what they are. They're resonating Tesla coils. So you've got one in the controller and then one, in this case, actually in the handle. What's on? We're used to light bulbs where they've got a positive and a negative terminal, but these just have one terminal. Every home should have one. Yeah, they used to sell them in every pharmacy in the States. 100 years ago.
I think it was it Rife who was doing the work in hospitals, and they'd have these they looked like giant Tesla bulbs that were like 2 stories tall that people would sit under, and then of course and they'd be curing cancer, I believe, at least that's what I read. But of course the pharmaceutical companies got a bit jealous and greedy and started literal campaigns against energy medicine. There's commercials out there that are just like, don't fall for the quackery of holistic health and energy, and it's just like, okay, like the moment World War II was over, they like World War I or II, they just started massive campaigns against anything that wasn't a drug. And
well, exactly, Rockefeller and his cronies. You probably know they did it was just sheer bribery. They went to the heads of the medical schools, with homeopathic or herbal or acupuncture, whatever it was, and said, look, we'll give you $10 million if you stop teaching that rubbish and do our new special drug stuff. And they took the money.
Oh yeah, that was like giving someone $1 billion back in the day. They'll make you a billionaire if you just make us even richer.
Well, so, here in the UK, in 1939, they passed the Cancer Act, which said unless you're a doctor, you can't cure cancer.
Well, it does not make sense at all.
But the corruption's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, the corruption goes deep. Yeah.
One of the reasons they took this stuff out of hospitals wasn't as conspiratorial as one might think. It was because at the beginning of the first of all, they took them out of use because they could be used as radio transmitters. So at the beginning of the Second World War, they were afraid that from America the Japanese spies might be communicating, so they took them all out. Then they replaced them with shortwave, which didn't. Also, this stuff interfered with radio signals. So they changed to shortwave after this, which was long wave. And it was only after a little while when people weren't surviving or actually dying they realized they made a mistake. Tesla coils work better than what then followed of valves and transistors and so on.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I did not know that. Makes sense though. Someone's going to be spying. Better take out the fun technology. Replace it with ham radios. Yeah.
But if ever you want one, my hobby is restoring them.
Oh really?
So I supply them to mainly practitioners, but
cool.
regular folk as well. I'm trying to get, just like you are, trying to get frequency back on the map.
Yeah, right. It needs to be done. The next step is, we'll have Tesla, human currency, probably building something like some intentional structures that are not dissimilar to the ancient structures. I have some nice books that show all the harmonic proportions of temples in Egypt that was written sometime in I think the 40s or 50s. And so creating intentional spaces, that same proportionality that the ancients used to, and just having it as just like a playground for all of the frequency instruments and medicines out there. Yeah.
Well, quite organ music on a literal level.
Yeah, right, the organ music. It'd be interesting though, like the one question I still have about frequency, because like I see a lot of people like, this frequency is specifically for the spleen, and I don't disbelieve that there are frequencies for the organs. I just get very analytical, just like, all right, how did we figure that out? I know it's out there, but who figured it out?
Well, I can answer that to a large degree. It was Rife, Royal Raymond Rife. His equipment was just radio equipment, and he first of all he developed the most powerful microscope ever made. With an electron microscope these days, you can't look at live things. But Rife made a microscope. You could have the same power as an electron microscope and see it alive. And he started beaming frequencies at things like parasites, all different parasites. And at some point, he hit the frequency of resonance where they would explode like an opera singer shattering a crystal glass. Yeah. And so he worked out what he called the mortal oscillating rate of all things, including the body on a positive level. But so I've played with Rife machines in the past, and you can get fantastic results with Rife machines. But for me, they're too complex. I like the Tesla devices because although they may look complex, there's basically only one knob, which is more and a bit more still and a lot more.
And then they light up very prettily. It's like, ooh.
Exactly.